too, you guys, because you talk about being a psychologist today. Grandma was number one. I don't know what you had about her. She didn't go to school, nothing.
And it was who?
She had Grandma Schwab.
That would be my grandma Scheller's mother.
Okay.
Yeah,
My
my
great-grandma.
Schwab, Edie Schwab. And I'll tell you two different things. It tells you that she had a way, in her sight, on people. Grandpa come in, it was in the summertime, and they hadn't had a lot of rain. It had been so terribly dry. And he come in, was real quiet, went over and sat in his chair that he had, Grandma had especially for him in the kitchen. He always sat in that chair. And pretty soon, he started to put his head down. Oh, he said, I just don't know what we're going to do. I just don't know what's going to happen to us. It's so dry. It just don't rain, don't rain, don't rain. We won't get any crops. That's not sure. Well, Grandma never said a word. Just went over and she got a chair. She came over and sat right down beside him. She looked at him and kind of put her arm up. Well, Charlie, just what are we going to do? If we get that bad, he said, well, we won't have nothing to eat. And just went on and on like this. Pretty soon she said, oh, now, Edie, it's just everything's just going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Don't you worry. It'll turn out all right. Number two story was he come home. He'd been gone. He'd gone to Gurney Center. That's back in horse and buggy days. And he came in and was real quiet. So Grandma knew he had something on his mind. And after a bit, he says, he sat down in his chair. He says, Edie, I'm going to Wyoming. Grandma said to him, well, what are you going to do in Wyoming? Well, he said, I'm going out there and buy some land. Oh. Well, he says, Dr. Thielen, and he named Dr. McDowell, and a couple of, and those are two doctors, and a couple other real kind of a rich and part people from Gurney Center, men, said, we're going to, I'll go out to Wyoming, we're going to buy land. And she said, well, it's going to have, it'll be for gold later on. There'll be gold on it. And Grandma sat there just for a little while. Everything was real quiet. Finally, she turned to him and she said, well, Charlie, hasn't everything, since we've been married, been half and half? 50-50? Yeah. Well, he said, you know, I'll tell you what we'll do. You take your, she says, how much money we got in the bank? And it was a couple thousand, evidently. I think there was 1,000 she had that they saved up. You know, it's just a pretty good amount for that time. And
Yeah,
what year? Yours,
what year was that? What year would that be?
And buy the land, and I'll keep mine here in case something don't happen like you want it to, or what you need to, then we'll have it to pay the bills with. And they said he was real quiet. And then he jumped up, she sees him madder than a wet hen. He wasn't my hand to talk back or anything. He just ran out the door and slammed the doors, ran out and got in the buggy, and took off up the road just the dust just a flying. And he had told her he was going to Wellsburg to get on the train, so she figured that that's where he was headed. He was gone about an hour or two, she said. And she looked up and she thought, well, that sounds like he's out there. So she went out and looked. And here he was. He parked in the buggy and he came back in. He said, I didn't know. I thought you was going to get a train from Wellsburg to go to Wyoming. Well, he said, I just decided if you didn't want to spend your half, I wasn't going to take my half either. Well, it's a good thing it turned out, because those 4 men went out and they bought land out there, and those evidently what they bought wasn't good, and every one of them lost it. In fact, Aunt Dode ended up buying the Dr. Thielen's 180 or 160 up at Goldfield. If you look on them, you'll find out. And brought this out in the fact that Dwayne and Janice are working on that side of the house, the Georges, and found out they have all that land up there in Goldfield, around Goldfield. Well, that's how they got a hold of it, was because he lost it during that time.
What year would that have been?
I suppose it's in the 20s, probably. I don't know. But then that tells you another again down there. But Grandma was. She had to have been a...
Sassy.
Yeah, she knew a way of handling things without getting anybody upset. You know, they could do their own thinking on it. But she just had that. She did have a lot of different people. And she gave a lot of herself. She wasn't much of a churchgoer. That she was not. And whether she saved or not, I know Grandma and your grandma, Scheller, went, and I don't know if Aunt Allie did too, went to her after they were saved and talked to her. She says, "You just take care of yourself." She said, "I'm all right." They were Methodists, so nobody ever knew for sure whether they were or where they weren't, but they weren't sure. She was a very good neighbor and went to and helped the church with the quilts, you know, that kind of stuff, done any kind of work. In fact, she was kind of what do they call them when you go and sit with women that are going to have babies?
Midwife.
Midwife. She was a midwife. For different, that you couldn't find anybody else to come and stay. And she could say, "Oh, I'll come and stay there."